Jim, 3 weeks ago in Foxborough, Patriots pulled off a shocker. They dominated the Colts. Today, it's the rematch. We join you from the RCA Dome. Welcome, everybody. Ian Eagle along with Solomon Wilcots. After 2 games, Indianapolis looked unstoppable. Last 2 games, completely different story. What's going on there?
Well, when you talk to the coaches about Manning's 5 interceptions over the last 2 games, well, they'll just come out and tell you that it's really been due to the miscues and misreads by the wide receivers. Today, they'll scale down the no-huddle offense, try to give them more time to digest the play before they get to the line of scrimmage.
New England is trying to build on their overtime win last week against San Diego. They'll have to do it without this man. Terry Glenn sitting this one out with a hamstring injury. Patriots and Colts from Indy. That's coming up. Three weeks ago, one team was undefeated and one team was winless. Led by a new young quarterback, the Patriots embarrassed the Colts, leaving the veteran with no answers. Last week, Brady engineered New England's upset victory, while Manning saw Indy lose again. Today, 2 teams heading in different directions collide. The Patriots and the Colts. The kickoff is next. Back in Indy, Bill Belichick, head coach of the Patriots, told us yesterday they will be more balanced here today than they were last week in the win over San Diego. Tom Brady, 54 pass attempts in that victory. Expect them to run the football here. Jim Mora, one strong comment he made, he felt people outside of the organization may have overrated his team after their lopsided victories in the first 2 weeks of the year. They've come back down to earth last 2 games. Colts have won the toss. They'll receive it. Adam Vinatieri kicks it off for New England as the Patriots attempt to sweep the Colts here in 2001. Dominique Rhodes on the return, and Rhodes is tripped up as he moves it ahead to the 24-yard line. An injury to Terrence Wilkins, and that's why we'll see more of Rhodes on special teams. Peyton Manning, these are not numbers he's accustomed to, Solomon.
Yeah, the 9 interception is something that's something we're not accustomed to see from Peyton Manning. But you know what? He plans on getting back on track today. Says that the offense needs to improve on their execution, and he needs to improve on the communication with his wide receiver.
And he told us the lack of execution he feels is on their offense, not for what the other team is doing defensively. First and 10 at the 24 to open up in a 2 tight end set, Dilger and Pollard. Edgerrin James had his problems against New England 3 weeks ago and cannot find space on the opening play. Otis Smith combining with Anthony Pleasant to make the stop. Indianapolis on offense, big change, right tackle spot. Adam Meadows, a durable figure, not part of the action today because of a hamstring injury. The rookie Ryan Dean gets the start out of Northern Illinois. Backs and receivers, James, he's gone over 100 yards in 3 of the 4 games this year. The 1 game, New England, they held him under 100. Also a change with Jerome Pathan out with an injury. Reggie Wayne gets the start at receiver. Marvin Harrison getting involved. Out across the 25 for a gain of 4 on the pass for Manning. Mike Vrabel making the stop. It'll be 3rd down. New England defensively, and what a job they did against this Indianapolis offense 3 weeks ago in Foxborough. Front 4, Pfeiffer, as we know, not your typical defensive end. Linebackers, Ted Johnson getting the start, but Teddy Bruschi is back and available for Bill Belichick. And in the secondary, both Law and Smith had touchdown returns off of interceptions in the first meeting of the season against Indy.
Colts come out and they do use the huddle, so they're trying to slow down their pace and make sure that they improve on execution.
We'll call it a 3rd and 7 out of the shotgun, and a flag comes down. The game clock is not working inside the RCA Dome, so the clock you're seeing on our screen is unofficial. The only person that has the official time is Tom White, our referee here today, and we assume that periodically he'll fill us in.
Defense, number 45, play game, attempting to cause a false start on the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
So now a 3rd and 2.
And Peyton Manning told us, he says, we're going to come out and use the huddle and try to give our receivers more information in the huddle in terms of what they could expect for the hot read. And he says also it gives this receiver a little bit more time to digest the information.
And that's been the criticism here at Indy throughout the week, that they've gone with that no huddle too much. After excelling with it the first 2 weeks. Sidearm throw, and Manning makes the connection to Reggie Wayne over the middle for a first down. That's a 7-yard gain. And Reggie Wayne, what an interesting story this young man is. Coming out of Miami, Santana Moss really was the guy that everybody focused in on there, but Indianapolis was high on him. They didn't even talk to him before the draft. They picked him anyway. He was shocked.
Well, Manning had known Reggie Wayne. They both grew up in New Orleans, had worked out together over the summers. And what Manning likes about him, he says he's a hands catcher and not a body catcher.
Also call him very polished for a first-year pro. He's dealt with some injuries and making his second start because of the injury to Payton. Over the middle, and Dillinger. Off play action, it turns into a big play. Lawyer Malloy making the stop. And that's 24 yards into New England territory and down to the 36-yard line.
And other than scaling down the no huddle, Manning says they're going to come out and continue to be aggressive in attacking the defense with their passing attack. This is right up the middle. Anytime you see them throwing the ball up the middle, it's going to come off play action, try to get the linebackers to fight at work on that play.
Hurry to the line of scrimmage. James cuts it upfield, trying to carry tacklers, and he can't. Forward progress will get him to the 35 for a gain of 1. Pfeiffer and Pleasant collaborating to make that stop. And that's something that Bill Belichick discussed at great length. Edgerrin James, he'll hurt you inside, but he told us he will absolutely kill you on the outsides. That's where they'll contain him.
Yeah, they want to contain Edgerrin James on the edges. Don't let him get outside, and they also want to take away the cutback plays and get every man in a gap to shut him down today.
On a 2nd and 9, Manning throwing on a slant from Gilbert. And the tight end releasing to make the catch. Brought down by veteran Brian Cox, but a gain of 7 as they inch closer to a first down.
And the key for the Patriots defense, even Peyton Manning told us, he said, we have to get yards after the catch. He said, we're going to get the completions, but we need to be able to pick up yards after the catch in order to move the chains. And so the Patriots are going to have to tackle well after the catches are made. That time they were able to do so when Dilger made the reception.
Manning is cooking so far. 4 of 4, 43 yards throwing the football. This is a 3rd and 2. Tony Simmons, the former Patriot, has checked in. Manning throws into traffic and incomplete. Wayne took a smack from Brian Cox, and getting physical is something that the defense of New England has talked about all throughout the week, and they did it 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, and Brian Cox has a good read on the quarterback. He's just reading the eyes of Peyton Manning. He knows there's going to be a crosser coming over the middle, and he's ready to deliver a blow. Something he did in week 3 in their first game when he delivered a hit on Jerome Payton. It really sent a message for the rest of the day. They were very physical in that football game.
That hit on Payton, first play from scrimmage. And you're right, it did set the tone. 46-yard attempt for Mike Vanderjagt. Vanderjagt has been one of the best in the business on a block. Block kick down the sideline. Leonard Myers. And New England off the block from Brandon Mitchell, with tremendous field position to start out on their first offensive series. A 35-yard return off of this block.
They just do a good job of getting penetration coming right off the corner. You can see Myers is just in position to pick it up, and good heads-up play. You have to give Gerdakis credit, or I should say Hunter Smith did a good job of coming down and pursuing, making the tackle.
A double tight end set for New England. First drive of the day opens up at the Indy 29. Brady and some razzle-dazzle. On the reverse, David Patton cutting the upfield. Patton to the end zone. Touchdown, Patriots.
It all started with the big play on special teams, and now the Patriots' first play from scrimmage on offense. Wonderful play. It's just they come out with multiple formations, and we talked about this with the coach. Their defense, very difficult to read the multiple formations by this Patriots offense. Patton just takes it, and they're in man-to-man coverage, so they catch the backside, not really paying attention. They're able to use the speed of David Patton to outrun the defense on the other side.
Adam Vinatieri on for the extra point. How about that for a sequence? Vinatieri bangs it home. A blocked field goal attempt, 35-yard return, and on the very next play, David Patton with a rushing touchdown. It's 7-0 New England. 29-yard rushing touchdown for David Patton, the first rushing touchdown of his NFL career. 7-0 New England in front. And Vinatieri kicks it off with Rhodes waiting. Rhodes angles over from the goal line. Rhodes looking for a block. down the sideline and stumbles forward to the 27-yard line. Matt Chatham got him down low for a 27-yard return. Manning back on the field for Indy when we come back.
Now here's the touchdown by David Patton, but watch the quarterback Tom Brady who will pull, and the center Damian Woody, they'll seal, just creating a lane for David Patton. You don't see many centers like Damian Woody being able to get out in front, but they both get excellent blocks, and Patton just uses his speed to race up the field into the end zone for the touchdown.
Indianapolis takes over from the 28-yard line out of the shotgun. Fakes the handoff, Manning over the middle and finds Marcus Pollard. A physical presence, gets himself across the 45-yard line for an 18-yard pass and catch. Also, big picture, Solomon. Think about how big that block is on the field goal attempt. How bad was New England on special teams a week ago? Bill Belichick worked out throughout the week.
He said, excellent. He said, we have to come out and we have to be really good on special teams because we need good field position, because he's afraid of Matt Vanderjagt, who's a really good kicker, and he can kick him from a long ways out, 45 yards or more.
Hole for Edgerrin James and gets tripped up as he comes across midfield. James could have had more than that 5-yard gain. He got a strong block from Pollard.
Of course, a lot of the big plays over the middle are now coming off the play action. And the Patriots came out and said, we want to be very physical with the Colts. We believe that the Colts are finesse offense. That's what Ty Law told us. He said, we have to be very physical with them. But he says we have to play smart, not give up the big plays and play action.
2nd and 5. Ball is spotted at the 49 of New England. James gets the call again. James, juke move. Gets it out to the 45 for a gain of 4. Looks to be about a yard short of a first down. Let's go to New York right now. Jim Nantz with an NFL Today update.
Thank you, Ian. You remember last week how the Ravens were just throttled by Green Bay. Well, right off the opening kick, a big return to James Jackson runs it in. 7-0 Browns at the start over the Ravens. Let's go back to Ian and Solomon.
Well, one thing we do know, Jim, that division, things have changed immensely. Cleveland has credibility. Cincinnati. Pittsburgh is leading the division. Go figure that. Short yardage situation. It's a first down for Indianapolis. Edgerrin James. Low to the ground, but maintained his footing for a 3-yard gain. And a new set of downs for Indy to work with. Edgerrin James, last week, 116 yards on the ground, but he was held to 55 yards on 17 carries in the last meeting against New England.
And I think the Colts have to come out and establish more physical presence in their running game and attack the middle of the Patriots defense, much like the Miami Dolphins were able to do 2 weeks ago.
Teddy Bruschi has come onto the field to replace Ted Johnson. And here's Manning checking off. Line of scrimmage is the 43. James running inside. He squeezes out about 5 yards on that carry. Teddy Bruschi brings him down. Giving up the big play, Solomon, that's something that Bill Belichick and the rest of the New England defenders that we spoke to focused in on. They'll give up the dink and dunk, the 4-yard run, the 3-yard run. They don't want to get hurt by Manning to Harrison 50 yards.
And Ty Law told us it's imperative that they don't give up the big play. He believes that this offense for the Indianapolis Colts become a little bit impatient when they can't get the big plays, and that's when they tend to make mistakes.
Last week, New England's defense held LaDainian Tomlinson to 74 yards rushing. He came in as the NFL's leading rusher. On the dump off for James. And James has a first down for Indy at the 30-yard line. 8-yard pass play. Cox and Malloy make the tackle.
And all week, in the local papers here, people have talked about as to whether or not this offense needs to change its strategy. But they've put up some big numbers over the years since Peyton Manning has come over in 1998. So I think, and when you talk to the offensive coordinator, Tom Moore, he says, we're just going to keep doing what we've done for the last 3 years. He says it's proven, and the system will allow us to be able to move the chains. And so far, they're doing it here today.
On a 1st and 10 from the 30, here's James. Off a tackle and down at the 25. It's a gain of 5. Working that right side in the running game.
They're starting to get Edgerrin James going. It's very important that they have some semblance of a running game, and they're just coming in. Ted Johnson misses the tackle, and James is very quick at getting to the corner, getting up in the hole. very effective, 100 yards in 3 of his 4 games so far this season. He's going to need a big game here today in order for his team to be successful on offense.
Indianapolis showing some confidence in right tackle Ryan Dean, the rookie making his first NFL start. They've gone to the right side a number of times. Out of the shotgun, Manning has the protection. Sails it to the outside and incomplete. Tony Simmons was in the area, the former Patriot.
And Manning is trying to tell Simmons, hey, here's how you got to run that route. We don't have, he told us in our meeting, he said, we don't have any routes where our receivers sit down over the middle. You have to continue the route, continue running through the zone. We don't want you to sit down. So you could see Manning doing a little coaching down there on the football field.
It's funny you would bring up coaching. One of the great quotes we got from Manning, the chess match, he matches up in his mind against the opposing defensive coordinator, not a free safety, not a cornerback, and he visualizes a matchup. So he knows he's going against the Bill Belichick defensive mindset.
And that's quite a chess match.
Shotgun. Manning on a 3rd and 5. Float. Too low for Pollard to handle. And once again, the drive stalls just about in the same area as their last possession.
And the Patriots do a good job. They've been only rushing 3 men, but now they bring a number of guys, 5 players, and Roman Pfeiffer gets a hand up and tips the ball. That's why it's not able to make it to the intended receiver. Good job by the Patriots mixing up the defense.
Mike Vanderjagt, on his first attempt of the day, had it blocked. 3rd time it's happened in his NFL career, now in his 4th year. This will be a 43-yard attempt with Indianapolis looking to get on the board. Vanderjagt gets it away cleanly and splits the uprights. Indianapolis cuts into the New England lead. Patriots have had 1 play on offense, but they lead at 7-3 in the first. New England with a 7-3 lead, 5:42 to go here in the first quarter. And after the 43-yard field goal from Mike Vanderjagt, Hunter Smith will kick it off for Indy. Kevin Falk is waiting deep. Here's Falk from the 8. Middle of the field, now England towards the sideline. Here's Falk breaking the tackle. Trying to double back the other way, and he's brought down, bottled up at the 34-yard line, a 25-yard return. 7-3 New England. Tom Brady operates this Patriots offense in a moment. At the RCA Dome, 7-3 New England leading Indianapolis. Tom Brady, AFC Offensive Player of the Week, following his 364-yard, 2-touchdown performance against San Diego. And flags come raining down. Matt Light, who has had a couple of tough weeks at left tackle, going against Ray Lee Johnson last week and Jason Taylor prior to that. Light, the rookie out of Purdue.
Number 72 offense. The 5-yard penalty remains first down.
So it is called on Matt Light. Tom Brady. Maybe the numbers don't even tell you. He had a huge audible in overtime last week against San Diego. It's just showing you the poise and the saddle.
And that's the key. No interceptions. Over 110 pass attempts, but no interceptions. He's been perfect.
Spreading the field. Underneath, Troy Brown bouncing around like a pinball as he gets across the 30-yard line for a gain of 5 off the pass. And Mike Peterson with a tackle. I'll show you what this New England offense looks like on the offensive line. Light, Compton, Woody, and Druzzi, and Robinson Randall. Backs and receivers. Talked about Terry Glenn, the hamstring injury. Suffered it Thursday in practice. He wouldn't have started anyway. Brown and Patton get the start, but Glenn really allowed Brown to flourish last week looking at single coverage. A handoff. Antoine Smith. Indianapolis was prepared defensively after the gain of 3. Rob Morris, first man there. Let's take a look at the Colts defense. They feel like they're improving. They did make some changes during the offseason. Scioli, Williams, Johnson, and Bratsky. It'll be a dime package for Indy. Now, these officials will have a little chat before this play takes place. Line of scrimmage is the 35.
And the Patriots come out in so many formations. They know they're going to get some guys open early. And talking to Bill Belichick, he said it's important for his quarterback, Tom Brady, to be accurate early in the ball game because he's going to have some opportunities. Here he's facing a 3rd down situation.
4 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the first. You may ask, why is Tom White telling us that? Well, the clock doesn't work. here at the RCA Dome. We'll try to update you and stay as close as possible, but that's unofficial time more often than not that we'll have on your screen. On a 3rd and 7, Brady steps up and fires. High throw and a great individual effort by Charles Johnson just to haul it in, but it's short of a first down. Thomas Smith had the coverage in that dime package.
Not only does Charles Johnson do an excellent job of hauling in this pass, it's a bullet. It's a little high, but he goes up. Look at it. One-hand stab. He grabs that ball, and if that ball is tipped up, it's almost surely intercepted by one of the Colts defenders.
We talked about being a hands catcher earlier in the game. You had to be a hands catcher on that play. It's nowhere near the body.
Charles Johnson come over from the Philadelphia Eagles. He's more than capable. He may get some considerable action here today.
Lee Johnson released this week. Ken Walter was signed earlier in the week to take over the punting duties, and a 42-yarder to get his Patriot career started. 7-3 New England leading Indy in the first. This impressive Indianapolis offense has been working without a weapon the last 2 weeks. Jerome Pathan out with a foot injury, and Pathan was having a breakout season before this injury bug hit him.
In his 4th year, he's really began to become a major part in this offense, another weapon for Peyton Manning.
That means that a little more pressure is put on the tight ends, including Marcus Pollard, who sets up in the slot. On a 1st and 10 from the 19-yard line. Handoff. Edgerrin James. He's got a lane. And James has a first down. 11-yard carry. Tarek Glenn and Jeff Saturday creating some holes for James to work through.
And both Manning and, of course, his running back, Edgerrin James, do a good job on this play. This is the play that they'll use the play action off this, and Manning will turn his back to the defense, so you can't really tell who has the ball. And Edgerrin does a good job of disguising as to whether or not he has the ball. He's hitting the hole full speed, whether it's a play action or a run, as we saw on that play.
8 carries, 32 yards now for James. He's got 22 100-yard plus games in his NFL career. That's 36 games, 22 of them 100. Manning, long ball, separation. Marvin Harrison down the sideline and dragged down inside the 5 by Tebucky Jones. The big play that New England was trying to prevent, it just happened for the Indy offense.
And Manning really does a good job of selling this play. First you get the play action, and then he does a good job of looking off the safety to Bucky Jones, because he's got his tight end going right down the middle of the field. Marcus Pollard. Look at Marcus Pollard. Then he goes back to the backside, going to the receiver, Marvin Harrison. Excellent play, getting on top. Good throw. You see Tebucky Jones comes into your screen late, but he gets over late, and Harrison nearly gets the touchdown. Good sale by the quarterback, Peyton Manning.
68 yards through the air, and now a 1st and goal. Looking for the lead. Edgerrin James running into a crowd, and nothing there. Maybe a yard as he tried to accelerate. It'll be 2nd and goal with time winding down here in the first.
We talk about Manning saying he likes to match wits with the defensive coordinator, in this case Bill Belichick, and Belichick says, hey, we can't give them the big plays, and that's exactly what the Patriots defense give them there. They want to make them snap the ball a considerable number of times.
And look at the consistency when they get into the goal situations. All touchdowns. Manning, play fake. Manning to the end zone. Knocked away. He was looking for Ken Dilger. And Roman Pfeiffer just got a piece of it. It'll be 3rd and goal.
The second time Roman Pfeiffer's been able to get his hands on a Peyton Manning pass. And Manning, he gets a little anxious. He's being forced to hold the ball here. He's trying to get it over to Ken Dilger, but Manning, if you force him to hold the ball, he can get a little impatient, and that's how you force him to make some mistakes.
3rd and goal for Indianapolis. On a rollout, Manning stops. Manning sacked. New England read it perfectly, and Mike Vrabel was able to contain Peyton Manning. It's a loss of 6, and Indy will have to settle for a field goal attempt.
You know, Peyton has a very high motor. He likes to play a fast game, but right now he can buy just a little bit more time, and he stayed underneath his blocker. That was Larry Moore pulling out in front. Had he just stayed behind his pulling guard, Larry Moore, he could have bought maybe a little bit more time to try to get a receiver open on that play.
Mike Vrabel, the former Steeler, Was never a starter in Pittsburgh, but Bill Belichick made him a starter here in New England, replacing Chris Slade. Field goal, 25 yards, and Vanderjagt has it blocked again. New England special teams looking like a different unit here today than the one we saw a week ago.
And again, they have leakage on the left side. The Patriots just come pouring in. Belichick must have been trying to tell us something. He says, hey, we have to make plays on special teams, and so far they've done it, blocking 2 kicks so far here in the first quarter.
Brad Seeley, special teams coach, could have been Bucky Jones or Brandon Mitchell. We're not quite certain. We'll look on replay.
Bucky Jones comes right in.
Yep.
He's able to get a hand on it, coming off that right side, the left side of the Indianapolis Colts. It's the same side where they came off on the first block kick.
You know, one thing Jim Mora hasn't had to worry about the last few years is his kicking game with Mike Vanderjagt. Second block of the day for this New England special teams unit on field goal.
But you have to block. You know, Vanderjagt's going to make the kick, but you have to block. And as we see, the special teams coach for the New England Patriots, Brad Seeley, doing a good job. They've been able to pick up something on film, knowing that they can get some leakage over on that side and come through to block the kick.
And special teams play wasn't just shaky a week ago. Special teams play has been shaky throughout the year. Bill Belichick told us,
Touch beyond the line of scrimmage, first by the kicking team, subsequently recovered by the receiving team. Farther down the field, by rule, the ball belongs to the receiving team at the spot of the illegal touch by the kicking team. First down.
Bill Belichick told us they actually scaled back their offensive and defensive practices this week over in Foxborough just to address the special teams needs. That's how much of an important aspect it became for Belichick and his coaching staff.
And how big was that block by Bucky Jones? Remember, it was Bucky Jones who gave up the big play to Marvin Harrison and then raced over to make the tackle at the 2-yard line, giving himself a chance. So it's just a huge play because they dodge a bullet, giving them no points in that situation.
Yeah, let's not forget what the New England defense did in a first-and-goal situation. And then the special teams able to clean it up. No points to show for that drive. Vanderjagt, 100 career kicks, 2 blocks before today. 2 of them have come today, 4 on his career. Log on to NFL.com, read what Michael Vick, Steve McNair, Jeff Garcia, Junior Seau, and other NFL stars had to say in their own words. It's only at NFL.com. AOL keyword NFL.com. First and 10 for this New England offense from the 5 on a handoff for Antoine Smith. And he picks up 3 yards working the right side with Rob Morris, the middle linebacker, making the tackle.
You know, sometimes the team just has the other team's number. Patriots have won 9 of their last 11 games with the Indianapolis Colts, and really their best rushing day came in Week 3 against the Colts when Antoine Smith had 94 yards rushing in that ball game. He hasn't come close since, so he's looking to have a big game here today. Last week he talked about how many times they threw the ball. Bill Belichick says he wants more balance in this offense here today.
As a team, they had 177 yards on the ground against this Indy defense in a 44-13 win, September 30th. End of the first, New England 7, Indy 3. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Iron Eagle, Solomon Wilcox back with you from the RCA Dome. The start of the second quarter and a 2nd and 7 for New England. Brady throwing to Troy Brown. And Brown accelerates to the 20-yard line. New set of downs for New England to work with as Chad Cota makes the tackle. That's a gain of 11.
And the coaches have been really impressed with Tom Brady's cool and poise in the pocket under pressure. He comes out in the game completing passes early. That's something coaches say they want to see him do. He completed passes to 9 different receivers last week. Shows he has great command of the offense, knows where everyone is on the football field.
There was some speculation this week that Drew Bledsoe might be in uniform as the emergency quarterback. Not the case. He's not even close to being ready. Brady throwing again over the middle to Troy Brown. And Brown has quickly become Tom Brady's favorite receiver. David Macklin on the coverage. That's a 12-yard gain through the air.
You see Brady's numbers. He's just gotten better and better each week, and had a little hiccup in week 4 against the Miami Dolphins. But then again in week 5 against a very good San Diego Chargers defense, he just caught fire, completing 33 passes, had the best passing day in terms of yards of any quarterback in the league last year.
We're going to get in as many Brady Bunch references as possible, I think, today. We can get Johnny Bravo in. You know, that's a major step. On a sweep for Antoine Smith, Rob Morris got him down low. It's a gain of 5 for Smith, trying to cut it to the outside.
There's no pressure on Brady. We saw last week with the San Diego Chargers. You don't get pressure on this young man, he'll just grow in confidence as the game goes on, and he can get hot. He has a very strong arm and quite mobile for a very big guy. I'm very impressed with his mobility, but certainly impressed with the strength of his arm.
118 passes now in his NFL career, has not thrown a pick. On a handoff, Smith into a crowd and could not emerge from that hole. Brad Scioli involved in the stop. It's a gain of 3. It'll be 3rd down for New England. You know, with Brady, we talked to him and asked him, being down 10 points, inexperienced player, late in the game against San Diego, he said, you know what? I thought back to my college days. My first start against Notre Dame, Michigan was down 10, and he allowed himself to think that they couldn't come back. They ended up losing the game. He said he would never think that way again.
He tried to begin to script in his mind the way that they could come back and beat the Chargers, and it happened just the way he had imagined it in his mind.
Motion man Rutledge. J.R. Redmond back from injury, but can't get the first down. A flag on the play. Rob Morris, good pursuit. No gain for Redmond on the carry.
Very young linebackers for the Colts. They have made some mistakes, but they've continued to improve as the season has come on. Talking to the coaches, they say we can make the perfect call in the huddle, but it's the execution amongst our young linebackers that we're looking for. At that time, Rob Morris was able to make the play.
Number 83 offense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
Illegal motion called on Rutledge, the tight end.
Keep your eye on number 94, Morris. He's just going right to the ball, flowing hard inside out. Makes the excellent tackle on Redmond. Just good, clean recognition. He's able to read the play and then pursue and execute.
Ken Walter, the former Carolina Panther, left-footed putter. Moving forward to bring it in, Trevor Inslee. And he catches cleanly at the 24-yard line. 35-yard punt. 7-3, the Pats with the advantage. Indianapolis, the top-ranked offense in the NFL, averaging more than 400 yards per game. The points have been hard to come by so far today. 2 blocked field goal attempts and a goal line stand from the New England defense. It's 7-3 Patriots. Handoff for Edgerrin James, turning it upfield and turning it into a good gainer on first down to the 30-yard line. Picks up 5. Ty Law making the tackle.
And right now, the Colts offense is showing, I think, a great deal of patience there, looking to come out and try to run the ball with Edgerrin James. And right now, they've run the ball 10 times as opposed to 12 passes. So they have, I think, some really good balance, and they're content to just really, I think, stay balanced and try to move down the field as patiently as they possibly can.
You look at the Indy schedule, they do have winnable games coming up against Kansas City and Buffalo. Again, James again, and this time forced to the sideline. Late hit. Flag comes down. Otis Smith hit him first, and then Stevens came flying in.
Otis Smith hit him so hard he knocked Edgerrin James out of one of his shoes. But the late hit out of bounds, that's what drew the flag.
Belichick asking his defense, stay disciplined against this offense. Don't give them extra yardage. And a face mask is called.
It's really good pursuit by, I think, the New England Patriots defense. They're getting guys at the point of attack, getting some penetration.
Personal foul. Face mask on a tackle. It's a 15-yard penalty. You tack on the end of the play. The first down.
And this is Norman Pfeiffer. He's just inadvertently
think by accident grabs the face mask of Edgerrin James. Nevertheless, you have to call it, but you could see he was also hit well after he was out of bounds.
Well, my mistake. I thought the call would clearly be on Matt Stevens as James was angling out of bounds. One foot was already out, but it is the face mask penalty.
I think they could have called either one.
So a 1st and 10 for this Indy offense. Now at the 47-yard line. Manning off the pump fake finds James releasing out of the backfield. Gorgeous juke move as he took it to the outside. He made Mike Vrabel miss, and he turned it into extra yardage, 9 or 10, depending upon where they spot it.
And Peyton Manning does an excellent job of, I think, selling plays because he's going to look over to his left. He's just buying time, and then he pump fake long, find Edgerrin James. But this is what Peyton wants from his receivers, yards after the catch. Edgerrin James makes the catch. He's able to elude the would-be tackler, Mike Vrabel, and get outside for additional yards.
They'll measure it to see if James did get enough for the first down. As they extend the chain, it'll be a little bit short. So give him a 9-yard gain on the reception. And it will be 2nd and inches for this Indianapolis offense. They are in New England territory now. Ball is at the 43-yard line. Indianapolis has been able to move the football. It's just cashing in points, which has been the problem.
They have to make plays in the red zone. They've been able to get down there, but they've had 2 kicks blocked. But they had a 1st and goal on the 2-yard line, just moved backwards from there, was not able to execute and get into the end zone, forced to try to kick a field goal and had it blocked.
Colts have had a lot of success here at the RCA Dome in recent years. They are 14-4 at home since the start of the 99 season. Patriots have not been able to win consistently on the road last couple of years. James' 2nd effort, and he's got a 1st down for Indy. Straight up the gut for a gain of 3.
And that's what the Colts have to do. I think they have to try to establish some physical presence in the running game, not just running outside on the edges, but right up the middle. Nice hit by middle linebacker Brian Cox, but Edgerrin James gives it a 2nd effort and able to get the extra yards and pick up the 1st down.
Brian Cox told us, we don't want James running north and south. He can just find those holes and shoot through them. Play action. Manning in trouble. Manning is sacked. Back at midfield, Bobby Hamilton getting a paw on him.
Bobby Hamilton is working against the rookie, Ryan Dean. He just shot out of a gun. He's coming full tilt right there as you see him, and he's able to beat the tackle, the rookie, and get to the quarterback. Peyton Manning's one of the least sacked quarterbacks in the National Football League. Bill Belichick says he's much like a Dan Marino in his ability to read defenses and get rid of the ball very quickly. But that time, Bobby Hamilton didn't give Peyton any time to make a decision. He was on top of him before he could notice.
3rd sack of the season for Hamilton. It's a loss of 8. 2nd and 18. 2nd New England sack of the day. Manning steps up. Protection is there. Knocked down. Brandon Mitchell. Live football. And Steve McKinney, the left guard, able to bring it in. So what should have been 3rd and 18 turns into a 6-yard gain. It'll be 3rd and 12.
This is the 3rd pass that Peyton Manning has had tipped and knocked down. Fortunate for him, it comes in, falls right into the hands of an Indianapolis Colt. And you can see the ball is knocked down right there. The Colts very fortunate. Many of his interceptions have come off tip passes just like that.
Now we saw Brian Cox catch a pass last week for New England. Why not? Steve McKinney getting involved for Indianapolis. Right place, right time. Shotgun on a 3rd and 12. New England crowding the line. Manning steps up. Manning under some heat. And a slap. Knocked away. Good defensive play by Terrell Buckley. Roman Pfeiffer applied some pressure on Manning, who had to get rid of it.
That time the Patriots had a delayed blitz. That time forcing Manning to get rid of the ball, but excellent coverage in the secondary. You can see here coming right there late. That would be Roman Pfeiffer forcing him to get rid of the football a little bit before Peyton Manning was ready.
Reggie Wayne, the intended receiver, and this defensive unit for New England has been spirited so far. Troy Brown waiting. The Hunter Smith punt. High in the air. Brown fair catch. And brings it in at the 8. That's where New England will take over offensively after the 35-yard punt. It's the Patriots in front, 7-3 over the Colts. An excited young man, the Indy 500 Speedway Museum. Coming to you from the RCA Dome in Indianapolis. 7-3 New England with the lead. 9:15 to go until halftime, and a 1st and 10 from the 8. Brady looking to throw it, airing it out. Brady coming back for the football. David Patton. He could take it the distance. Patton streaks in. 91-yard touchdown.
And yesterday I asked many of the receivers, I said, has Tom Brady underthrown any of the streaky wide receivers on this football team? He said it's impossible. You just saw the power and strength of the arm of Tom Brady. Excellent throw, well-timed as well.
David Macklin was beat on the play, the second-year corner out of Penn State.
And this is just a simple go route. This is just the speed of David Patton versus Macklin, and Patton wins going away. They don't even close in after he makes the reception. Just a wonderful throw. Well-timed pass route. Excellent throw by Tom Brady.
And what a day that David Patton is having here in the first half. A 29-yard rushing touchdown as Vinatieri adds the extra point. And Patton with a 91-yard reception for a score. Tom Brady's got the look of a leader. His team's in front. Longest pass play in New England Patriots history, topping the mark of 90 yards. Tony Eason to Craig James, our CBS colleague, back in 1985. Now it's Brady to Patton in the Patriot record book. Dominique Rhodes on the return. Off the kick from Vinatieri. Rhodes to the outside and wrapped up out of bounds shy of the 25.
David Patton will do a good job on the play simply because he gets Macklin to turn his back to the quarterback, and once he turns his hip, he'll just race right inside, and then it's just speed from there. And Tom Brady, he puts it out in front. And you'll see Patton doesn't even break stride. He's continuing with his speed. He's able to outrun the quarterback Macklin as well as the free safety Adrees Bashir. That's just a speed route. They're trusting the speed of Patton to outrun the entire defense. This is assistant coach Pepper Johnson giving it a little love. He said, come on, get to the end zone.
I have to say, that's about a 12-inch vertical leap.
Yeah, but
go with that.
The thunder we heard when he hit the ground, that's the thing.
Play action. Manning under heat again and caught from behind by Bobby Hamilton. Hamilton, the former Jet. Signed as a free agent by Bill Belichick last year, and 3rd New England sack of the day.
And Hamilton, he knows he's working against a rookie, and that's why he's just bringing it. He understands he's going against the rookie Ryan Deem, and he's coming after the quarterback. But right now, the Colts are in a known situation. They're down 14-3, and so they know that the Colts have to pass the football. They're pinning their ears back. I think the Colts are going to have to stay patient. This game is still early, plenty of time.
It's been aggressive from Romeo Crennel, and we talked about the physical nature. New England knew they were going to make it a physical game, not a finesse game. Manning on a scramble. Manning on a pump fake. And he'll take a smack once again from Roman Pfeiffer. It'll be a 1-yard gain for Manning, who's now trying to get on the same page as his skill position player.
There's some frustration starting to set in, right? You see a cover 2 zone. That's with the 2 safeties over the top, and the corners is just sitting with the 2 middle linebackers. He's trying to get the receivers to just come across the middle and find an open area where Manning can get them the ball. And right now, none of the receivers seem to be on the same page with their quarterback, Peyton Manning.
Frustrating day so far for Peyton Manning. Got off to a good start, but New England has neutralized him since. Manning again under pressure and forced to throw it away. It was in the direction of Edgerrin James. Willie McGinnis applied that pressure and a flag down.
And with McGinnis applying the pressure, didn't give Edgerrin James to come off his block with the defensive end Roman Pfeiffer and get open for the potential screen play.
The sequence there, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down, Manning had no time to work with.
Yeah, they're getting pressure on Manning. He talked to Belichick. He says, you know what, we can just force him to hold the ball, but I think they're doing a good job of mixing it up. They're not blitzing. They're forcing him to hold it, make decisions, and then they're bringing the blitzer late, forcing him to get rid of the ball when he's uncomfortable.
Penalty against Indy.
Ineligible lineman downfield on the offense. Number 50, the penalty is declined. We'll take the result of the play. 4th down.
Called called on Larry Moore, but of course New England declines the penalty, and they're forcing Indy to punt it.
And McGinnis is coming off the top. You see Pfeiffer holding up James, and Edger's trying to get out into a route, but Manning's forced to throw the ball much sooner than what he wanted, certainly much sooner than Edgerrin James had expected.
Hunter Smith pinned back. He'll accept this snap at his own 2. Troy Brown waiting at his own 38. High punt indoors here at the RCA Dome, and Brown's got some room to work with. From the 31, Brown cutting it upfield like a locomotive to the 40. Justin Snow, the snapper, made the stop on special teams after the 52-yard punt. New England 14-3 over Indy, looking for the sweep. Tom Brady today, a perfect 5 of 5 throwing the football, 123 yards and a long 91-yard touchdown to David Patton. New England 14, Indianapolis 3, and the Patriots once again have excellent field position to start out at their own 40. Motion man is Patton. Brady underneath. More razzle-dazzle. Patton looking deep. Down the field. Troy Brown. Touchdown. Who are these guys?
Wow.
The New England offense has exploded in Indy.
And we said that the Patriots will come out in multiple formations, looking to do a number of different things. Last week against the Chargers, they sneak in Brian Cox at fullback and sneak him out to the flat. He catches the pass, and now they come out with a lot of razzle-dazzle and really catching this Colts defense off guard. We talked about the Colts defense having very young linebackers and guys who are learning on the job. They're going through some growing pains right now.
Is that David Patton or is it Jim Thorpe? He's thrown for a touchdown. He's run for a touchdown, and he's been on the receiving end of a touchdown. Adam Vinatieri, the extra point. Smile on the face of Drew Bledsoe, and the Patriots 21-3 over Indianapolis.
And Tom Brady starts it off just getting into Patton, but Patton is poised and he throws it perfect. He doesn't break stride on this. Troy Brown just runs right underneath, doesn't give time for any of the cornerbacks to make a play. They're just, David Macklin's on, he gets beat again, and he's got to run and get on top of this. You would think he's expecting help, but he was in man-to-man coverage. Troy Brown just races right by him, right into the end zone for the touchdown.
Hey, remember Patton's professional roots, the Arena League, and he's been involved in some Arena League-like plays today.
He's done some things more than just running pass routes. When you get into those kind of leagues where you're expected to do a number of different things, even play a little defense.
Well, there you go. He can do it all, apparently.
Well, you have to give Charlie Weiss some credit. He knows what kind of players he has. He knows he doesn't have his most potent weapon in wide receiver Terry Glenn today, and coming up with other ways to manufacture big plays and create some opportunities for this offense to get the ball into the end zone.
Now focus on the other side, though. This crowd is stunned. Indianapolis offensively, we have seen Peyton Manning actually confused out there and befuddled at times, and defensively, clearly New England has now set the tempo with what they want to do on offense, and they've got the Colts back on their heels.
And don't forget the way the Patriots have played on special teams, blocking 2 Mike Vanderjagt kicks so far here in the ballgame.
And Dominique Rhodes lost the football for a moment. And Rhodes is trying to run sideline, which was the wrong move. You got to go forward.
Another special teams faux pas by the Indianapolis coaches. Jim Morris taking notes and keeping names here.
It's going to be a long list.
When you drop this ball, when you pick it up, you have to get going forward. Once you begin running laterally toward the sideline, you're allowing the pursuit to get on top of you. Right now, you're not gaining yards. All you're doing is saying, hey, guys, come and get me, and that's exactly what happens.
Patrick pass comes over to make sure he was down inside the 5. New England Patriots, 2 plays, 151 yards, taking up 22 seconds, and 2 touchdowns.
That's a quick strike, but you see they only took 22 seconds to do that, so it's a lot of football to be played. Didn't take much time, so you have to still maintain a high level of concentration and continue to make plays.
Still have nearly 7 minutes to go until halftime. James puts the helmet down and surges forward. Brian Cox meets him there for a gain of 3, and he gets it out to the 5-yard line.
Now, I talked to Peyton Manning
Manning, I said, what happened in week 3 when you guys just got drilled by the Patriots? He said, you know what? They got out on top of us really quick. From there, we were battling back. It's really tough to run your offense when you're down by more than 10 points and 14 points. And today, right now, down by 17. So you can see they're having some problems. 18, excuse me.
Numbers on Manning, 9 of 15. Points are happening pretty quickly, Simon. Don't worry about it. Underneath. Curling it inside, and Marvin Harrison. That's his first touch since the big pass play in the first quarter. And Harrison's got a 13-yard gain. That's a first down.
Harrison's getting up a little slow. I think he was a little dinged up on the long pass reception in the first quarter. So they're going to have to get Marvin Harrison going. They're going to have to get the rookie Reggie Wayne. And there's going to be a number of players, if the Colts are going to get back into this football game, going to have to make some plays for Peyton Manning.
First and 10 now. Ball is spotted at the 18-yard line. In motion, Gilbert. On a handoff. Edgerrin James is met by Ted Johnson and driven back. Johnson, who was very active last week, the most active that he's been defensively so far this season because of injuries, getting involved in that play and meeting Edgerrin James head on.
And there you see Ted Johnson. Look at the speed. He's just getting out in front of the lineman and is able to get into the hole, head up on Edgerrin James. I can't tell you, that's just speed of a linebacker. Defeating blocks and getting in the hole, putting his hat on the ball carrier and making the tackle. Ted Johnson is a wonderful player. 7th year out of Colorado. He's been a high-performing player when he's been healthy.
On 2nd and 12, underneath, James breaking a tackle, straddling the sideline and spinning his way across the 40-yard line. So Edgerrin James, in what could have been a modest play, or maybe even a loss, turned it into a 5-yard gain and a great catch to boot.
We talk about players needing to make some plays for Peyton Manning. This is a poorly thrown ball, and Edgerrin has to come all the way back. He's able to get it with one hand and then able to elude would-be tacklers. Lawyer Malloy and Roman Pfeiffer are able to create an additional gain on the play.
Call it 3rd and 7, 21-yard line, the line of scrimmage, down to 4:27 and counting left until halftime. On a 3-receiver set. Manning out of the shotgun, Harrison in motion. Pump fake. Manning. Still looking. Manning. He gets rid of the football and has a first down. He found the safety valve there, James, but Peyton Manning just got crushed from both sides. Anthony Pleasant and Willie McGinnis.
And the pressure has been there all day on Manning. He hasn't had much time to throw the ball, and they're starting to get some hits on him. Pleasant here to be holding his knee. He hit Manning pretty hard. Manning's coming over to the sideline. He's a little dazed as well. They hit him from the blind side. It was a good hit on Manning, but Manning's doing a good job of hanging in there, holding in the pocket, waiting for someone to get open. But they're coming with the delayed rush. Pleasant, Roman Pfeiffer coming in, just closing right in on the quarterback. You'll see the hit right in the back.
And then bang.
And then bang right in the front. And Pleasant, his knee just buckles as he comes in from the front side. Willie McGinnis coming in from the back side.
I tell you what, Solomon, that might be as hard a hit as Peyton Manning has taken at this level, because Indianapolis, since they drafted him, focused on getting Peyton protectors up front.
In 97, the Colts gave up the most sacks in the National Football League, 62 sacks. Ever since then, they've given up the fewest sacks for every year Peyton Manning has been in the National Football League. I think it's largely in part due to his ability to recognize the defense and get rid of the ball very, very quickly.
Well, similar to the comparison you made to Marino earlier, I don't know if the Miami offensive line during those days was the best in the NFL, but they always had consistently great numbers because Marino got rid of the football quickly.
When you have a quarterback who can recognize defenses and he knows where his hot read is going to be, he's able to, I think, process the information fairly quickly and get rid of the ball, you're going to make your offensive line that much better. That's what Peyton Manning has given this Colts offense. Now I think he needs his skill position players to play up to that same level and read what he's reading when they're looking at the defense and be able to get open and be ready to make receptions.
Remember the durability of Manning, James, Harrison. They don't miss football games. That's the bottom line. Peyton took the hit. He's back out on the field on a pitch. Edgerrin James loses the football. New England recovers. Teddy Bruschi. What more can go wrong for Indianapolis today? Ted Johnson knocked it loose.
One thing after another has gone wrong for the Indianapolis Colts, and you have to be able to trust your primetime player, Edgerrin James, with the football. But Ted Johnson, once again, he's a missile. Just come in and knocks the ball loose. Teddy Bruschi comes in and recovers the fumble. The Patriots have a huge opportunity, but watch Ted Johnson, number 52, comes over, gets his left hand on the football, knocks it out. Bruschi's just hustling for the football, I think, with a little bit more effort than Edgerrin James.
New England takes over on a first down and rumbling up the middle, Mark Edwards. 10-yard gain for Edwards up the gut.
This was in week 3, and when the Colts visit the Patriots, but you see Edgerrin James will take the catch, and he'll fumble the ball once again right here. Turned out to be a costly turnover. Once again, Ted Johnson involved in the recovery. Edgerrin James doesn't fumble the ball much, but so far in 2 games against the Patriots, he's coughed the ball up, giving the Patriots a huge opportunity here.
On first down, Antoine Smith, Indianapolis came over to pursue him. And Smith, with that second effort, remained on his feet. Josh Williams, first man there. Solomon, the word that comes to mind, though, and it's a word that was talked about by Ellis Johnson. We asked him what happened back in week 3. What did he tell us?
He said, we were thrashed.
How many times did he use that word?
That word came up quite often in
double
our meeting.
digits.
That's right.
10 or 11 times he said, we were thrashed.
Ellis Johnson, he said it was a matter of pride. He said our pride was really insulted. They had planned on coming out today and seeking some revenge. So far today, it hasn't been the case because they're getting thrashed again.
Absolutely. The word is operative once again. 2nd and 11 after the loss of 1. On a give for Smith. And Smith, again remaining on his feet. Antoine Smith, who had a terrific second effort in his touchdown run last week against San Diego. He picks up 4 yards with Marcus Washington, the second-year pro out of Auburn, making that tackle. Time trickling away here. 21-3, New England leading Indianapolis.
And this is where the Colts defense have to make a play. You've seen the Patriots defense have made a number of plays, but so have their special teams. I think the Colts defense is going to have to do something to come up big.
We've hit the 2-minute warning here in Indy. It's been dominant, just like 3 weeks ago. New England, 21-3. Coming up, Nextel Halftime Report. Jim, Mike, Randy, and Jerry will have all the scores and highlights and the latest NFL news, plus CBS News Update. America on Guard. That's coming up. The Nextel Halftime Report.
This Colts football team has just been stunned. Everyone's trying to figure out what's going on. They appear to be unraveling on all phases of the football game. Offense making mistakes on special teams as well as defense.
J.R. Redmond is now in the game on a 3rd and 8. Brady straight back. Brady guns it to the sideline. First down throw inside the 5 to Troy Brown. They'll have it 1st and goal. And a chance to add to their lead.
Tom Brady has just been doing everything right on offense and leading his team at the quarterback position. Many people fear that with the injury to Drew Bledsoe that this offense and this football team would pretty much come apart. Drew Bledsoe having thrown for over 3,000 yards for 7 consecutive seasons, so he's contributed so much to this offense. But you can see Tom Brady's just been red hot, 6 for 6, 132 yards. The key for a young quarterback, no interceptions, making really good decisions from that position.
And you know what, Solomon? No pressure on it. Indianapolis has not applied pressure in the pocket.
When you play clock is inoperative. This will also be kept on the field.
All right, so we've now lost the play clock in addition to the game clock. We didn't have the game clock from the start, but the play clock was working earlier. Both are now dark. And we'll try to keep you abreast as best we can. It just popped on. Well, they took care of that. It'll be a 1st and goal inside the 5. Remember, Brian Cox checked in last week as a fullback. And Brian Cox is on the field once again.
Once again, offensive coordinator Charlie Weiss drawing it up, trying to keep this defense off balance. And right now, someone in the Colts defensive huddle's got to be saying, hey, recognition. You have to see Cox is in the game. He did catch a pass last week, but you can't just go running over to number 51, allow someone else to come open.
It works as a perfect decoy possibility as well. Now they have to at least respect it. It keeps the defense honest after he caught a pass last week in the win over San Diego.
And the good offensive coordinators in the National Football League has a way of keeping defenses off balance. You can create some modicum of doubt in the mind of a defense, gives you a chance to make a play.
Up the middle, leaping forward, Antoine Smith, but well short of the goal line. A gain of 1.
Here's Brian Cox. He's going to hit it up in there. You know he can do it because he's a linebacker. He loves hitting people, and here he just comes right up. Doesn't move the pile too much, but certainly creates some room for the runner. Brian Cox gets knocked back the other way.
When he met us for our meetings yesterday, I didn't want to shake his hand too hard. He's got the sensitive hands now of a fullback.
He's a receiver now. He can catch the ball.
On a 2nd and goal, play action. Brady throwing to the end zone. Touchdown, Jermaine Wiggins. Deja vu. Wiggins had a 3-yard touchdown last week to force the game into overtime. He's got himself a touchdown here today, and this is a lopsided first half. New England in front.
And again, Cox was out in the flat as the decoy. Rob Morris forced to come up and defend against Cox. But again, Tom Brady very poised. You see Cox is out in front, and Rob Morris allows Wiggins to get open in the back of the end zone. But very good poise by the young quarterback on the touchdown.
Extra point, Adam Vinatieri. So off of the Edgerrin James fumble. The recovery from Brewski, and then the New England offense turns it into 7. Tom Brady and the Pats lead it 28-3. Jim. 28-3, New England leading Indianapolis with 1:15 to go until halftime. And don't forget, the Nextel halftime report is coming up. Jim, Mike, Randy, and Jerry will have all the scores and highlights and the latest NFL news, plus a CBS News update, America on Guard. That's coming up on the Nextel halftime report. Tom Brady is 7 of 7 throwing the football, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. Who is your star in the first half? You can pick any one of a number of players. Patton has been incredible. A rush for a touchdown, 29 yards. A catch for a touchdown, 91 yards. And a throw for a touchdown to Troy Brown. Dominique Rhodes will take a knee off the kickoff. And they'll take it out to the 20. Coming up tonight after 60 minutes, when Max's students want to pose nude in a magazine, he's all for it. But how will he feel if his daughter decides to join in? Don't miss The Education of Max Bickford tonight after 60 minutes on CBS. Well, this crowd did not come here expecting this. After Indianapolis went to 2-0 this year, some people were saying that this team could cruise through the AFC. Offensively, they looked unstoppable. Last 2 weeks, they've come down to earth, and now they're in jeopardy of losing their 3rd consecutive game. Manning again flips it and forced to throw it away. Matt Stevens this time on a safety blitz applying the pressure.
Right now, the design of the Patriots defense is designed to really take away the pass routes first. They have a number of people, 5 defensive backs and an extra linebacker in coverage, running that cover 2 defense. And then they're sending the blitzer a little late coming after Peyton Manning, giving him a sense of security as he's resting in the pocket. And then the blitzer's coming a little late, putting pressure on Manning, forcing him to get rid of the ball before he's ready to.
Now a 2nd and 10 out of the shotgun. It's Manning. His team down 28-3 on a throw to Trevor Inslee. And Inslee with his 3rd catch of the season, 2nd year out of Nevada Reno, forced into action because of injuries to Pathan and Wilkins. And a timeout call. Line of scrimmage will be the 33. It'll be a first down for Indy when we come back. I want to tell you that for the best NFL coverage on the net, including expert analysis, in-depth team reports, you can go to CBSSportsline.com or AOL keyword CBS Sportsline. 28-3. New England in front of Indianapolis at the RCA Dome. Patriots 2-8 since last year on the road. Winning games on the road have not been easy. They won in Denver. They won in Buffalo last year. Edgerrin James, huge across midfield and into New England territory. Got a good block from Ryan Dean. And the clock continues to move. Now a timeout taken.
With 5 defensive backs in the game now for the Patriots, the Colts are finding some running room with one less defender in the box at the point of attack at the line of scrimmage. So the Colts have to be able to take what the Patriots defense is giving them right now.
It's a 20-yard run for Edgerrin James. Keep in mind, that is not the official time that you see on the screen. We're trying to keep it as close as possible, and we'll try to update it once we get the official time from the field. But a timeout taken by Indy. Coming up Saturday on the Home Depot SEC football. It's one of the all-time great rivalries, Georgia and Florida. Hot-handed David Green leads the Bulldogs. Heisman hopeful Rex Grossman looks to get the Gators back on track. It all begins with Tim Brando. Spencer Tillman, college football today. For more college football news, you can go to cbs.sportsline.com. AOL keyword, CBS Sportsline. 53 seconds remain. That is the official time until halftime. And a 1st and 10 from the 47 for Indy. What a humbling first half this has been for the Colts. Manning off the play fake. Over the middle. Reggie Wayne, the rookie. And inside the 30-yard line. So finally, a spring to the Colts step on the offensive side.
Once again, a good sail job by Peyton Manning, faking the play action, pump fake over to his left, finding Reggie Wayne wide open over the middle of the field.
Clock is moving. They elect not to use a timeout. Pump fake. They'll go for it all. Corner right to the end zone. And over the head of Marvin Harrison. That stops the clock. In a matchup with Ty Law.
You might wonder why Manning continues with the pump fake. What he's doing, he's ensuring that his receiver is going to be in one-on-one coverage. It holds the safety. The safety can't get over in time to help on the cornerback. So you know Marvin Harrison is going to be working one-on-one against the cornerback. In this case, it was Ty Law.
It'll be 2nd and 10 now from the 28. Only 27 seconds remain. And a timeout called by New England. They have 2 timeouts remaining. Indianapolis has 1 left. Now, Bill Belichick game plan for Doug Flutie last week. Came up with a good plan. Now a game plan for Peyton Manning. And Belichick knows fully well you can't give them the same look that you gave them 3 weeks ago. Bill Belichick has had success against Peyton Manning going back to his Jet days as the defensive coordinator and now the head coach in New England.
He's allowing Manning to only complete 60% of his passes, but I think the key is when you get 5 interceptions, only 9 touchdown passes against this defense, and 5 interceptions. Of course, 2 of those were returned for touchdowns in Week 3 when the Patriots played the Colts. So this Patriots defense and Bill Belichick, his design is, I think, intended to not only intercept passes, but to get pressure on him and make big plays against an offense that can really put up some big numbers.
And the completion percentage is misleading as well because he'll let him complete those 5-yard quick passes to the flat. It's just the big play that he doesn't want Peyton Manning to get through game in, game out. Manning forced to throw it away. And Riddick Parker applied that pressure as Manning rolled to the sideline. And the pressure has been there for New England. That's been a criticism throughout the year for this New England defense from the outside looking in, that they just don't register enough sacks.
Yeah, they come in, they do put some pressure, and I think they're just beating guys at the line of scrimmage. They're coming in, and this is Christian Peter providing the pressure right up the middle. And they're coming up, and they're getting some really good play, and it's just a good job right now by the New England Patriots defense.
Now a 3rd and 10. From the shotgun, Manning. Protection is there. Manning throws on a cross for Harrison. Shake and bake move and gets out of bounds. Didn't quite get to the marker. And his leg buckled a bit as he came to the sideline. Otis Smith had the coverage.
Harrison working against Ty Law. I think Harrison may have injured his leg on that first quarter reception, but he's still out there toughing it out, trying to make some plays, but he gets caught on the turf a little bit. He's trying his best to try to help this offense get back into this football game.
And his one mistake is not keeping an eye on that marker. He did have that little juke move, but he stepped out of bounds just short. And Indianapolis will now settle for the field goal, which has been an adventure so far today. Looks like his right foot got stepped on by Smith inadvertently. This is a 37-yard attempt for Vanderjagt.
5-yard penalty remains, 4th down.
Wow, this has been a shoddy, sloppy first half for this Indianapolis team. Every side that you can look at. Offense, defense, special teams.
And coming in, they said they wanted to improve on execution. In fact, they've gotten worse since last week's game against the Raiders. Something they're going to have to improve on if they're going to try to play some winning football here today and moving forward into the season.
42-yard attempt. Vanderjagt has the distance on it and drills it. So Mike Vanderjagt cuts into this New England lead, but could they have ever expected this? 28-6. Keep in mind as well, Solomon, this is a short week. Indianapolis will be at Kansas City Thursday night.
So they're going to have to get their act together. They're going to have to improve, and Jim Mora's going to have to get his team together and get them playing well in all 3 phases of the game, because they've played very poorly here in all 3 phases here in the first half. On special teams, they've made their mistakes. Offense committed turnovers, and defense has allowed some big plays to occur here in the first half.
Coming up tonight on the CBS Sunday movie, One Moment Changed Her Life. This movie will change yours. CBS presents an unprecedented all-star cast in an inspirational true story. Jennifer, tonight on CBS. The other issue also for Indianapolis, Solomon, even though they're down big at the end of the first half, you come into the second half knowing full well they're capable of putting up a lot of points in a hurry.
A lot of time left in this football game. The Patriots defense is going to have to be ready, because this is a Colts offense that can put points on the board in a hurry in a number of different ways.
Off the kickoff. On the return, it's David Patton. Patton zigzagging, and a flag comes down as he goes out of bounds, crossing the 30-yard line. He was chased down by Idris Bashir, the rookie. As mentioned, a penalty marker, though, and what has been a very tough first half for Jim Mora to stomach.
Just full of mistakes on offense and on special teams. You know, I think the Colts offense.
Holding, number 58, during the return. It's a 10-yard penalty. Be a first down for New England.
The Colts offense has done a good job of moving the ball. They've stalled inside the red zone, having 2 kicks blocked. But Peyton Manning is doing a good job. 15 of 24 today, 222 yards. They just have not been able to get the ball into the end zone.
4 seconds remain until halftime. And in the first half of these meetings this year between New England and Indianapolis, the Patriots have outscored the Colts 48-6. It was 20-0 at halftime back on September 30th. Bill Belichick and company with a comfortable lead at the end of the first half, 28-6. The Pats in front. Jim Nantz in New York, the Nextel halftime report after these messages and a word from your local station. Halftime at the RCA Dome, 28-6. The Patriots leading the Colts as we welcome you back. Ian Eagle along with Solomon Wilcots, and just another reminder of how quickly things can change in professional sports, any sports for that matter. New England last week, 10 points down to San Diego, about 8 minutes left. They come back, force overtime, they win the game. Now they're one half of football away from evening their mark at 3-3 and feeling pretty good about themselves.
Well, they finished last week's game against the San Diego Chargers just on fire, and they carry that over into the first half of this football game. 28 of those points were scored on 18 plays, and just getting it done in all phases of the game on offense, defense, and in special teams, blocking 2 Matt Vanderjagt kicks in the first quarter.
Indy, you take a look at the problems that they've had the last couple of games. Started the season off at 2-0, even the mark at 2-2, but everybody just assumed coming in, well, back at home against a team that they are, quote-unquote, supposed to beat. Hasn't happened that way.
And everyone wanted to blame the quarterback, Peyton Manning, for throwing those 5 interceptions in their last 2 games, but you can clearly see there are other problems and other issues with this Indianapolis Colts football team. The defense has not played well here in the first half.
Kevin Falk on the return. Falk remaining on his feet and brought down at the 30-yard line. Tackle made by Jim Finn for Indianapolis on special teams, a 21-yard return. Quarterback comparison, Peyton Manning, 15 of 24, 222 yards. Pretty good numbers, but look how economical Tom Brady has been. 7 of 7, and he's got the 2 touchdowns.
That's right. He's been perfect, 7 for 7. He's also allowed his wide receiver, David Patton, to throw a touchdown pass to Troy Brown. So there's been a number of different players who've gotten it done for the offense of the New England Patriots.
Brady on a handoff. Antoine Smith could not bounce off the initial wave of tacklers. Rob Morris, first man there. And it's a gain of only 1. New England hasn't had to establish the running game so far today. You wonder if they're able to do it, if Indianapolis is going to have any chance of coming back in this football game in the second half.
Well, if you're going to do it, I think first you have to do it with defense. The defense has got to make plays because you can't allow the Patriots to put any more points on the board. And you have to create turnovers to give your offense a short field. So I think it starts with the Colts defense here in the second half.
Draw play. There's an opening. Puts the head down and moves forward. Rob Morris making the tackle again on Antoine Smith, and this time a gain of 6. It'll be 3rd down.
You know, with so many errors and miscues with the Indianapolis Colts in their last 2 games, I asked Jim Moore, well, where do you start tweaking some things? And you know what? I think you have to start on the defensive side of the ball. For the last 3 years, they've been giving up the most points and giving up just too many yards to try to help this offense. We know the offense can put some points on the board, move the football chain, but you know what? You got to make plays on defense.
Now a 3rd and 3. Brady deals with the blitz over the middle, and David Patton couldn't handle it. Idris Bashir on that safety blitz. A bit delayed, and it leads to the first incomplete pass for Brady today.
And I'm still impressed by the poise of Tom Brady. You can see the pressure's coming right here. He delivers this ball right on the money, but David Patton can't hold on to the football. And for a second-year quarterback to stare down the barrel like that under blitz, that pressure, you're still able to complete the pass or at least throw it accurately. I think it says a lot for his poise.
Ken Walter, the newest Patriot, will punt it away to Trevor Inslee, standing at his own 20. Walter gets it off. Wobbly punt. Inslee moves forward. Couldn't catch it at the 30. And Inslee able to jump on it and avoid further damage. Line of scrimmage will be the 32. It could have been a lot worse if it took the wrong bounce for Indy. Colts trying to make up some points. Their first possession of the second half when we come back. Indianapolis special teams coach Kevin Spencer chatting with some of his players. It's been a long day for Indy on special teams. Number of miscues. 2 blocked field goal attempts, 1 fumbled kickoff return, and a fumbled punt return. They didn't turn it over, fortunately for them, and they have the football on a 1st and 10 at the 32. Edgerrin James turns it inside and comes up just shy of the 40-yard line. That's a 7-yard gain. Solomon, we've talked about the cover 2 and how New England used it to their advantage in the first matchup against Indy.
And the reason why they call it cover 2 because it's a 2-deep zone with the free safety and the strong safety. But the key thing, you want to attack it in the middle of the field, then get a receiver up the sideline. And if you can make the safety make a bad choice in terms of who he's going to defend, you get the ball over to the other side. But you have to attack it up the middle and on the sidelines deep.
Another opening for Edgerrin James and a first down for Indy. Back-to-back 7-yard runs for James. Good blocking up front.
And it's a good job by the Colts, I think, coming out, showing some patience, trying to get Edgerrin James involved in the running game. He did fumble in the second quarter, so you have to go back to him and begin to allow him to take over this football game and then strike with the play-action pass.
18 carries, 73 yards for James so far today. And a 1st and 10 from the 46. Manning will throw. Reggie Wayne is walloped. Brian Cox. It was Cox who set the tone in the first meeting with a hit on Jerome Pathan, and he just sent a message to the young rookie Wayne.
Cox just does a good job of reading the eyes of the quarterback. He knows the crosser's coming, and then he just beelines for the receiver. And Wayne's got to learn to get that ball up the field once he makes the reception, create positive yards.
On a quick snap, James driving forward across the 45-yard line. He picks up maybe 3, depending upon the spot. And Ted Johnson combining with Mitchell to make that tackle.
And you might want to ask, what does a hit like that by Brian Cox due to the receivers. In that last game, Jim Moore said that his receivers dropped 11 balls after Jerome Pathan was hit by Cox over the middle on the first play of the game. So the hit by Cox certainly sends a message to the rest of the receivers who will attempt to run across the middle of the field.
New set of downs for Indy to work with. Line of scrimmage is now the New England 44. Colts are on the move. Manning throws. Wide open Pollard. Pollard breaking tackles. And finally brought down to the 20-yard line. Mike Vrabel with a stick. That's a 24-yard pass and catch.
The Colts doing a good job. This is Pollard. He's working the middle of the field. As we talked about against that cover, too. You see the safeties to Bucky Jones and Lawyer Malloy. They're back deep, but you have to get the ball over the middle of the field. If they're going to hang on the sidelines, you got to hit the pass right over the middle of the field.
Colts go to the line quickly again. Handoff, James working the left side and scooting forward across the 15-yard line. A 7-yard gain now for James, and a 2nd and 3 for Indy.
Colts doing a good job of putting together some rhythm and tempo in the offense, mixing in run and pass, finding some soft spots in the Patriots defense, but they're going to have to do a better job down in the red zone. That's where they're at now. Haven't been successful down here all day.
2nd and 3 from the 14. James trying to cut it to the outside, breaks a tackle. James down to the 5-yard line. He made Vrabel miss, and then Ty Law had his problems. Give James 8 yards on the rush.
And you want to know what makes Edgerrin James so good is not just he has the vision to see that he has to take this ball outside as Vrabel gets hooked by, but watch him make a really good tackler, Ty Law, miss in the open field. The good backs have a way of doing that.
A 1st and goal just outside the 5-yard line. Manning to James, up the middle, tries to hit the hole and then brought down after a couple. Ted Johnson, first man there.
And many of the Patriots told us they thought the Colts, the middle part of that offensive line was the weakest part of their football team. And that's where I think Indianapolis has to do a really good job of creating, I think, more of a physical presence in the running game. When you get down into the red zone, you're going to have to really be able to power the ball into the end zone. And sometimes you have to do it going directly right at the goal line instead of trying to bounce it outside and run around the edges.
Backup center Rick DeMulling is checked in. He is eligible as a tight end. James is throwing backwards. Edgerrin James took a stick from Lawyer Malloy.
Lawyer Malloy and the other safety to Bucky Jones, they're coming right up the middle of that defense. And this is where the Colts offensive line has to do a much better job of creating a new line of scrimmage on the other side of the ball. They just all get pushed back. Ted Johnson coming in, as well as Brian Cox, Lawyer Malloy to Bucky Jones, all sending Edgerrin James heading backwards.
And now a 3rd and goal. New England came up big earlier defensively. Same scenario with a 1st, 2nd and goal inside the 5. They held them and then blocked the kick. This is a 3rd and goal. Play clock is winding down. Manning timing pattern to the end zone. Caught by Harrison. Touchdown, Indy.
And I can't tell you what a beautiful pass this is from Peyton Manning, and what a wonderful catch and adjustment Marvin Harrison makes in order to bring down this pass. This ball is thrown right over the top of his head, and he won't even see the football. He's widening. That ball's coming right over the top of his head, and look, he just creates good position to be able to haul that ball in because it's really good coverage by Ty Law.
They're going to go for 2. Because of the disparity, they recognize that they just can't get it back with 3 touchdowns. The question becomes, do you go for 2 early or go for 2 late? You go early, and now you try to lessen your margin of error later on. Out of the shotgun. 2-point conversion. Fake the inside handoff. Manning will throw it to the end zone. It's caught. Helmet comes off of Ken Dilger. And the Colts have 8 points to show for this possession. Indianapolis certainly not done yet. 28-14, New England in the 3rd. After the 10-play, 68-yard drive by the Colts, Hunter Smith will kick it off. Kevin Falk standing at his own 5. Falk moves forward and catches at the 11. Middle of the field, Falk in heavy traffic and now pushed backwards. He couldn't quite get to the 30, and now this Indianapolis team showing some emotion and the fans joining in. 19-yard return. 28-14, Pats. Fans are finally getting into it with New England in front 28-14. And yes, they are asking the defense to make some stops here to get that high-powered offense back on the field. First and 10 from the 30. A 5-receiver set. They spread the field. Brady, quick throw. And complete. Out across the 35-yard line. David Patton with an 8-yard gain. Chad Cota with the stick. Well, in the third quarter, New England has had its problems so far this season.
Well, you only average 2.4 yards per rush in the third quarter. That's a big problem because, you know what, you're forced to pass the football and it stops the clock, allowing the other team more time to get back into the football game. So you have to be able to run the ball here very well in order, I think, to control the football game and to control the clock.
Brady is now dealing with a loud crowd up the middle. First down and more. Antoine Smith busting it to the outside into Indy territory, and this crowd quiets in a hurry. Mike Compton with a huge block up front.
And Antoine Smith is feeling me. See, I told him they had to run the football, and he comes out and he responds. But you have to give credit to the offensive line running behind his fullback, Mark Edwards, doing a good job on Mike Peterson, number 52. And Antoine's just running the daylight here, ready to avoid the tackler, doing a good job stiff-arming the safety, Idris Bashir, but good job the Patriots running it.
He just ripped off 19 yards on the ground. Edwards, the motion man, movement. And flags come sailing down. Matt Light on that left side. Did he jump first? That's the question. We saw Indianapolis jump across the line.
Encroachment. Number 92 defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
And it was that matchup, Chad Bratzky against Matt Light.
Keep an eye on the left tackle. Matt Light right there, number 72. Let's see if he moves. Can't even flinch, man. There you see, little movement. Bratzky, that's what they're taught. If the offensive line moves, then you have to go ahead and cross the line of scrimmage. The officials let one go there.
New England just benefited. On the give. Antoine Smith trying to dive forward. It's a lot of running there for just 1 yard. Smith was contained last week by the San Diego defense. Held to 36 yards on 15 carries. He didn't rush for a touchdown, which he's done in 3 straight games. And he earned that touchdown last week against the San Diego defense.
He really did. He was hit by Junior Seau. Showed great second effort, but he had his best game of the season in week 3 against this Indianapolis Colts defense. 94 yards rushing in that game and 2 touchdowns. His best game of the season.
Now a 2nd and 4. Give it to Smith again. This time slices through a hole. And Smith upended at the 25-yard line. Earlier it was Compton, the left guard, with a key block. This time Joe Andruzzi. 12-yard scamper.
And Antoine Smith he's the back that the Patriots are looking for right now. He's the guy that's getting the opportunity to run in this offense, but they've been struggling since the departure of Curtis Martin. You know, Martin and a number of other backs have come through it. Now Antoine Smith is being given an opportunity to try to fill the void that hasn't been seen since Curtis Martin. Robert Edwards, of course, rushed for 1,000 yards in his rookie year.
Smith to the sideline, inside handoff, Mark Edwards, and it fooled no one, including Johnson and Williams combining up the middle. It's a loss of 1 on the play. Well, New England running backs had it going with Curtis Martin, but it's been a downhill slope, including Edwards at a terrible end to his career and an NFL-sanctioned rookie event in Hawaii.
From 11-5 to 5-11 correlates with the lack of rushing yards, so they need some semblance of a running game to go along with a really good passing game.
Play action, Brady fakes it to Falk, throw to the sideline, and into double coverage. Brown could not break free. Chad Bratzky got into the pocket to give Brady something to think about. And now Jeff Burris is lying on his back. Burris slow to get up. Idris Bashir trying to shake it off as well. Both come out limping following the collision.
Yeah, that time you mentioned Chad Bratzky. Ellis Johnson, number 62, also there to put pressure on Brady, but Brady's still poised. He knows they're coming. He takes a hit. He's able to get this ball out of out of the field of play right now. Is just over on the sideline going for Troy Brown, but he does a good job of getting the ball to only where his guy can catch it. He doesn't commit too many turnovers. He really makes good decisions under pressure as they're taking a look at the Colts defender who's injured on the play.
Jeff Burris remaining on his back. He tried to walk it off. We'll step aside here in the third. New England 28, Indianapolis 14, third quarter, 4:44 to go. Jeff Burris was able to walk off the field. He's replaced by another former Bill, Thomas Smith. Clifton Crosby in at corner as well. As a 3rd and 11 faces New England. Brady hit as he throws. Almost picked off. Crosby had an opportunity. And Brady still has not thrown an NFL pick. It's 4th down.
Crosby had a huge opportunity. The Colts were providing pressure. They're starting to come after Brady, and this is one that gets away from him. Nice hit by Ellis Johnson, but this ball sails high over the head of David Patton, and Crosby has a chance to intercept that pass. A pass he's got to make. We talked about the Colts defense needing to make some turnovers and make some plays to get the ball back to their offense.
This will be a 43-yard attempt for Vinatieri. He's had a lot of success kicking indoors. Vinatieri leans in and puts it through. Adam Vinatieri adding to New England's lead. Indianapolis scores a touchdown. New England answers with a field goal, 31-14. Peyton Manning pacing the sidelines, waiting for his chance to come back onto the field and try to cut into the New England lead. Adam Vinatieri now 10 of 10 on field goal attempts in his career at the RCA Dome, and he kicks it off for the Pats. Dominique Rhodes from the 2. Rhodes with a head of steam. And Rhodes is gobbled up at the 30. Matt Stevens involved in the stop, a 28-yard return. Our NFL.com poll question this week, it's a good one. Your team has 2 minutes left, 80 yards to go, no timeouts, you're down by 4. Which quarterback do you want leading your team? Obviously, the question is not at this moment. We're not saying Joe Montana now. We're saying Montana in his prime.
I'll take Joe Montana today, tomorrow, and forever. He took a Super Bowl from me, Super Bowl 23 down in Miami. So Joe Montana gets my vote at any point in history.
You still have John Taylor nightmares on occasion.
Every now and then.
You can cast your vote at NFL.com. On a 1st and 10, Manning throwing. Wobbly pass. Wide open Harrison, and again buckles as he hits the turf. He went down awkwardly at the 36-yard line.
Boy, it did not look good, but excellent catch by Marvin Harrison, working over the middle of the field, and that's where most of the big plays have come for this Indianapolis Colts defense. Of course, Harrison caught a big strike up the sideline from Manning, but it looks like it may be a hamstring or his knee, but appears to be okay. He wants to stay in the game.
34 yards for Harrison. His 6th catch, 130 yards overall, and he has a touchdown. There's the buckle, the right foot.
Matt Stevens is on the play, and he cuts underneath Matt Stevens. His back is to the play, but right now you see the concern of Peyton Manning. The concern he has for his wide receiver Marvin Harrison.
Yep, the reaction from Manning as we showed you the replay after Harrison went down. On a handoff, Edgerrin James continues to the outside, and he strung it out for a gain of 8. Trevor Inslee, who came in for Harrison, actually supplied a block out on the perimeter.
It was a good block by everyone on the right side, including Inslee, who held up Ty Law. Ty Law talked to us yesterday about his desire to be a complete cornerback and come up and tackle well. He wants to cover as well as make blitzes, but right now Edgerrin James doing a really good job of creating some room in the running game.
And Harrison is back in there for Indy. James puts the helmet down and gains 3. So they'll move the chains out to the 25-yard line. Brandon Mitchell with a stop. James has gone over 100 yards for the 4th time in 5 games this year, and for the 23rd time in 37 career NFL games.
An improvement from his Week 3 performance against the same Patriots defense.
1st and 10. Play fake. Misdirection going to the other side of the field. Coming back is Reggie Wayne. And Otis Smith with the man-to-man coverage. Fans here wanted to see pass interference.
And it's a good thing Reggie Wayne has the, I think, knowledge and understanding that you have to come back to this ball. Look at Otis Smith. He's cheating, looking back. He sees the release by Manning. He's breaking underneath. And look at Reggie Wayne. He comes back and fights for inside position. I think he prevents that ball from being intercepted because Otis Smith intercepts that ball. He's going to run it back for a touchdown.
And no penalty warranted on that play. He had as much of a right to the football as Reggie Wayne did.
Absolutely.
Talking like a former defensive back now. Manning throwing to the near sideline, and Harrison brings it in. Marvin Harrison is putting up huge numbers. That'll be a 9-yard gain, maybe 10. Let's see where they spot the football. It appears to be just a bit short.
And they're working the ball on the sidelines on 2 consecutive pass plays. One over to the left, over to Reggie Wayne. Now they come back to the right to Marvin Harrison. They're doing a good job of spreading the ball around and mixing it in with run and pass.
Now 3rd and short. James has the first down and carries a tackler or 2 with him for a gain of 4 up the middle. This is the Indianapolis offense that we expected to see throughout. And when you look back on it in the first half, they did move the football. That really isn't the question. They just couldn't cash in during key moments.
Well, they struggled inside of the red zone where they find themselves once again. Let's see if they can get it in. Using the running game and some passes as well.
It's James trying to bounce to the outside. Pursuit is there from Matt Stevens, and James is spilled out towards the sideline, but he picked up 6. With a normal running back, that play might go for no gain or a loss. He turns it into a 6-yard positive play.
And the reason why is because he stretches the defense. He's going to bounce it outside. He's just looking for room to run. But once he makes up his mind, he turns this ball up, and he turns up with authority, looking to run over whoever's in his way. But that's one thing that he does very well. Once he gets headed upfield, he does it with power.
Now a 2nd and 4 inside the 10. Manning throw. Deflected. And incomplete. Off of the body of Marvin Harrison. And that's one of those bounces, depending upon where the defensive players are situated, it could go the other way.
This is where the offense has gotten into trouble because he's throwing this right into the heart of the defense, as you can see. The linebacker, Ted Johnson, coming over. So the ball was thrown a little behind Harrison on purpose because Johnson was coming so fast inside and could have intercepted the ball had it not been behind Harrison. But they're aggressive in this offense at jamming that ball in there.
9th play of the drive. They can still get a first down. It's a 3rd and 4. Manning, long count, fakes the handoff. Manning, floater up top, over the head of Pollard. Incomplete. And the Indianapolis Colts have to settle for 3.
And this one has gotten away from Manning because he had Pollard wide open. Manning's not too happy. Could have put a little bit more touch on that ball and dropped it over the defense right into the hands of Marcus Pollard, who's a big tight end. Manning's not happy with himself right now because he had him wide open just over the head of Brian Cox. There was room to drop that ball in there, but he threw it on a straight line with more velocity than he needed.
Fans here wanted Jim Mora to go for it. He says, no way. Vanderjagt, 24-yard attempt. He connects. So after scoring the touchdown earlier in the quarter, New England came back with a field goal, and Indianapolis has a field goal of its own. It's 31-17. New England in front late in the 3rd quarter. Coming up next Sunday, the NFL on CBS is back with doubleheader excitement. First, Mark Brunell tries to spark the Jaguars against Ray Lewis of the Ravens. And then Rich Gannon and the Raiders take on Donovan McNabb and the Eagles. Or the Dolphins meet the Seahawks. Check your local listings beginning with Jim, Jerry, Randy, Mike, Marcus, Leslie, and Dion. It's the NFL Today. For more, go to NFL.com, the official source for all your NFL information. AOL keyword NFL.com. A couple games last year, Indianapolis fell behind in against NFC foes, Chicago and Green Bay, 2 games that stick out. They fell behind. They did forge a comeback late, only to fall short. And this game is beginning to get that similar feel where they were able to get their act together in the second half and at least try to rally.
Well, the unfortunate thing for the Colts is that their offense has to be perfect in order for them to have any chance of winning football games. The defense put them in a hole as well as the special teams, and they're constantly looking for Peyton Manning to bail them out. Well, they're going to have to improve their play in other phases of the game in order for this football team, I think, to be a consistent winner.
Connor Smith on the kickoff. Kevin Falk, a short kick, and Falk will take it from the 15. Falk has an opening, spinning his way across the 35 and brought down at the 38-yard line by Jermaine Hampton. It's a 23-yard return for Falk. Harrison was getting stretched out on the sideline. His numbers right now, 7 catches, 139 yards, and a touchdown. But they did not get the touchdown that they were looking for on that drive. They settled for the 24-yard field goal from Vanderjagt.
And it's more of the same for the Colts, the inability to punch it in the red zone. But Patriots going to start at their 38-yard line, and that's a chance. Really, I think that's good field position, something that Bill Belichick wanted. So the special teams for the Colts could have done a better job.
Throwing on first down. Brady finds Patton again. That seam that they continue to look for. And Brady continues to find it. An 11-yard gain, a first down for New England.
And the Colts are trying to blitz Tom Brady, trying to rattle the young quarterback and put some pressure on him. But he's doing a good job of standing in the pocket and delivering the ball accurately to his receivers. And so you have to wonder if the Colts will continue to come after him or if they'll just lay back and play coverage, because he's responded well in both cases so far here today.
Line of scrimmage is the 49. Patton, 2 catches, 104 yards. Troy Brown, 6 catches, 105 yards, each with a touchdown. Underneath again, this time Brown, shake and bake. He faked them out. David Macklin may have broken his ankles after that juke move. And Troy Brown creating after the catch. It may be enough for a first down.
And Tom Brady has playmakers in Troy Brown and David Patton. You can see the nice move by Troy Brown on David Macklin, able to pick up additional yards and pick up the first down. But a play like that is really designed to substitute a play in the running game, because it's so easy to get the ball into the receiver's hand just on the hitch route, and then he's able to pick up additional yards. It works just like a run play if you're trying to move the chains.
See the clock rolling. Tail end of the third quarter, and that will do it. Fourth quarter action is coming up. New England 31, Indianapolis 17. We'll come back to the RCA Dome after these messages and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Ian Eagle, Solomon Wilcots, our entire CBS crew with you from Indianapolis. New England 31. The Colts 17 as we start play in the fourth quarter. Brady. Look at the protection. Brady floats it upstairs. He's got a man. Flag down. Troy Brown in a matchup with Macklin. And 2 flags come in on the play.
This ball was just a floater. Macklin loses his timing in terms of trying to defend this pass, because it's just hanging up there. He's got to play the ball much better. That's why they throw the flag on it. He makes contact with the receiver before the ball arrives.
Pass interference, number 27 defense. It's a first down at the 3-yard line.
Long afternoon for Macklin.
Macklin's got to find the ball. His head is not getting turned around, and by the time he turns his head around, he runs right into the back of the receiver.
Now Brian Cox reports in as eligible. It's a 38-yard penalty.
But watch how Brady hangs in there. He's buying time, and he knows he's going to get hit, but he's able to buy extra time, and he ends up throwing that ball, finishing the play, standing on his feet. Macklin just has to do a better job of playing the ball in the air.
On first and goal, trying to string it to the outside. Look at the pursuit. Smith forced to the sideline. Jeff Burris among those there to make sure Smith wasn't getting in for 6. Now also with Brady, give him credit. While the pass didn't look pretty, he did throw that off his back foot, so he put enough mustard at least on it to get it near the goal line.
When you throw the ball off the back foot, it's going to sail high on you, and that's what happened on that play. And I think Macklin was expecting the ball to come in on a better trajectory and come in much sooner, but threw off his timing. But he's got to do a better job defensively of finding the ball in the air. And then once the ball is in the air, you have to play the ball, try to get the interception or bat it down.
Loss of 3 for Smith. Second and goal from the 6. Play fake. Brady over the middle. Touchdown! Leaping grab by David Patton. And New England An offensive juggernaut here today at the RCA Dome.
It's a juggernaut because of the decisions and ability of the quarterback, Tom Brady, but then David Patton making an excellent grab. This is a play action. He'll just get inside of David Macklin, and now he'll just screen him off from the football, use his hands, not the body, to pull this ball in. Macklin doesn't have a chance because Patton goes up for that ball, securing it with his hands, and able to tuck it away before Macklin has a chance to make a play.
That pass on time and exactly where it had to be. Brady, 3 touchdowns, 11 of 14 throwing the football, 170 yards, and more importantly for the Patriots, a 38-17 advantage. Four-play, 63-yard drive, 2 minutes and 29 seconds off the clock. The big play actually was the pass interference that was called down at the 3. And Vinatieri kicks it off. Dominique Rhodes from the 4. Rhodes couldn't handle that initial wave, and he's driven down at the 24-yard line. Larry Izzo involved in the stop. Well, coming up, following our coverage here today, the Subway postgame show. Our crew back in New York will get you caught up with all the scores and highlights and the big news happening around the NFL on the Subway postgame show. That's coming up after the Colts and Patriots.
We talked about, ways that the Colts could get back into this football game if they're going to come back, and we said they had to get it done on defense. So far, they've given up 10 points in the second half. It doesn't bode well for the offense or for the Indianapolis Colts as a team.
Edgerrin James makes a tackler miss and then emerges out across the secondary down to the 42. That's a 17-yard run for James. Indianapolis' defense, they had to come up big, and they did not.
Well, they haven't done a good job of putting pressure on Tom Brady, and they haven't done a good job in coverage. And in the third quarter, they even allowed Antoine Smith to create some room in the running game and keep the chains moving.
Manning underneath. Harrison creating after the catch and then forced out of bounds right at the 40-yard line by Ty Law. Marvin Harrison has gone over 100 yards for the 23rd time in his career. And Harrison and James going over 100 together for the 13th time.
And this is where the Patriots have to keep the pressure on, continue to play tight coverage and trying to put some pressure on Peyton Manning, much in the same way they did in the first half.
James. The patience of James. It looks initially like he's going to run in between tackles, or at least out off tackle, and then cuts it to the outside.
And the Patriots defense has to maintain its intensity. They've done a good job for most of the game, really stretching those run plays and sending it out to the sidelines. Romeo Crennel looking at his defense and, hey guys, let's keep our intensity. We can't let up on this offense. This offense for the Colts can put points on the board in bunches, so you have to maintain your intensity for a complete 4 quarters throughout the football game.
6 yards for James. Manning can't handle the snap and forced to pounce on it at the 35-yard line. So a loss of 1 on the play. And the clock is moving.
Manning just doesn't secure the snap. He had a chance. It was in his hands. He just bobbled it after he started to pull away from the center, Jeff Saturday. He has to do a good job of riding that center and holding on to the football.
Now a 3rd and 5. Patriots were asking for a timeout. And they get one. First time they've used a timeout of the second half. Belichick didn't like something on that defensive alignment in the matchup with Indy. We'll step aside for a moment. Come back after this. Patriots lead the all-time series over Indianapolis with a mark of 38-24. They have won 9 of the last 11 meetings against the Colts. One thing working against the Pats, though, heading into action today is what they've done on the road of late. They've dropped 6 of their last 7 away from Foxborough. Out of the shotgun. Manning on a handoff, 3rd and 5. Edgerrin James waits for the hole to emerge and takes advantage of it with a gain of 6. New set of downs for Indianapolis.
At that time, the Colts offensive line came off with tremendous power, pushing the Patriots defense back, and Edgerrin James able to find room to run inside, something he hasn't had pretty much of this day.
Out of 12 minutes left in the fourth. 38-17 New England. Patriots trying to get to the 500 mark. Throw. Into some traffic. Marcus Pollard brings it in cleanly and brought down at the 11-yard line. 19 yards on the pass play. Laura Malloy with a tackle.
And once again, the play action pass, so you know they're going to throw the ball over the middle, and that time they get it to the big tight end, Marcus Pollard.
And again, there is no huddle. Manning has been barking out the instructions. And now checking off, Tariq Glenn. He jumped very quickly as Manning began to look towards his right to make a change.
False start. Number 78 offense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
And it leads to the question, Solomon, the no huddle. That's a theme that we came in talking about. Does it work sometimes to their disadvantage? Not everybody's on the same page.
You know, sometimes there is miscommunication. You have less time to process information, and I think it creates more confusion for the offense, sometimes for the defense as well. But this time, you can see some of the offensive players are confused.
Now a 1st and 15. Manning steps up, loses the football in a passing motion, and Bobby Hamilton jumps on it. Another Indy turnover. Their second of the day. And New England takes over as a number of fans get up out of their seats and head for the exits.
And right now, Peyton Manning is just disgusted with himself because he has a nice throw. This ball just slips right out of his hand. I don't know if his hands are wet. He's really upset with himself, but he has someone to throw to right over the middle of the field, but the ball just comes right out of his hand. He's not hit. He's standing alone, and with that, it costs his team dearly an opportunity to get back into the ball game.
Uncharacteristic mistake from Peyton Manning. And now New England just wants to use as much clock as possible. Antoine Smith up the middle for a gain of 2. And there you see the fans' reaction following that turnover. Indianapolis is now a -10 on turnover ratio this year. They came in at 29th in the league, worst in the AFC. And Rob Morris right now is on his back. The middle linebacker on this Colts defense in his second year from BYU. Played in only 7 games last year because of a knee injury that cut his rookie year short. 38-17 New England. Timeout. Rob Morris limped off the field. Peyton Manning having a little chat, checking out some pictures with Mark Rippon, the backup quarterback. Turnover from Indianapolis, giving New England the football, and Jim Mora's long day continues. Trying to avoid their 3rd consecutive loss. A loss to New England 3 weeks ago, then a bye, and then a loss to Oakland last week, 23-18 on Sunday night. 2nd and 8 for the Patriots from the 26. Again, some chicanery. Troy Brown. Instead of taking it to the outside, decided to cut it in, and he did pick up 8 yards on the play.
Plays like that, the reverse to the wide receiver, Troy Brown. Those are plays that keep the defense off balance. We saw the first touchdown of the game scored by the Patriots came on a reverse to David Patton, who raced all the way to the end zone. So this is an offense. Charlie Weiss, the offensive coordinator, doing a good job keeping the Colts defense off balance with a number of things. We saw Tom Brady get the ball over to Patton, the wide receiver, then throwing the ball deep to Troy Brown. So there's been a number of different plays here showing some creativity.
Another first down for New England, and they are content keeping it on the ground, and why not? Antoine Smith barreling forward to the 35-yard line, no gain. Rob Morris back in there to make the stop. 36 plays for New England on offense. 38 points. That's not the normal ratio you grow accustomed to watching NFL games.
That's right. It's what they call high efficiency. They've had a number of big plays in this game. Bill Belichick's offense operating very high level.
And the clock is rolling. We approach 9 minutes to go. Brady wants to throw it. And a laser to the sideline. Out of the reach of Mark Edwards. So the clock stops. Tom Brady out of Michigan. Some great quarterbacks that did come out of there over the years, including Brian Greasy, who preceded Brady and beat him out for the job during their national championship year. The relationship has developed between Brady and Bledsoe. Brady beat out Drew Henson for the job, and Henson has gone on to be a minor league player for the New York Yankees. We asked Brady if he called him to maybe get some tickets. He said he did. He's looking for ducats for Monday night, in fact, in the ALCS.
Drew, if you have any extras, pass them along.
Mark Edwards banged around a bit. Jeff Burris missed initially, and that's an 11-yard gain. First down for New England as they keep the clock moving and the chains move. Well, one weapon that Brady did not have here today, and it has not hurt him one bit. Terry Glenn announced before the game today that injured hamstring was too tough for him to come back from.
Well, they found other ways to manufacture some yards in the offense, and we talked about the reverses to David Patton, but then the pass over to Patton, and then he goes deep to Troy Brown. So you can see the numbers for both receivers today. Just operating at a high level, really getting it done any way they can.
Troy Brown is dragged down just before he went out of bounds at the 49-yard line of the Colts. 5-yard pass play. Jeff Burris with the tackle as we approach 8 minutes to go on the fourth. Now, Troy Brown, we asked him about Brady and if they knew right away that they had a guy that could direct this offense. He said, we knew last year in preseason that this guy was the real thing.
He said they knew with the arm strength that this guy has. And, Troy Brown comes in to this game with the AFC's second leading receiver with 31 receptions. He's adding to it. He's making a name for himself.
7 catches, 112 yards today for Brown. Here's Smith. Able to turn it up and then driven back. It'll be 3rd and short coming up after the 3-yard gain, and just about everybody got involved defensively for Indianapolis. Also with Troy Brown, we asked about the adjustment going from Bledsoe to Brady. He said, hey, I've been with Bledsoe the last 9 years, so obviously there's that transition period. The ball comes in a little bit different from Brady than it did from Bledsoe.
He said there's some adjustment. He said the biggest key has been trying to get Tom Brady to stick to the script. He said last week he was saying, okay, let's do some things a little different. He said, hey, hey, young quarterback, let's just stick to the script.
Calm down.
What the coaches tell us to do.
It's working. Brady on a sidearm toss to the outside, and Charles Johnson in a matchup with Idris Bashir. 3-yard gain. They needed 2. And another first down for New England. This is becoming methodical for them as clock is just peeling off time. 6:38 and counting left in the fourth.
You can see the Patriots are sticking with the passing game, and a crucial time like this in the ball game as time is winding down. It tells you they're still going after this Colts secondary, but it also tells you that I think they have a lack of confidence in their ability to run the football and run out the clock, so they're going to keep the ball in the hands of Tom Brady.
Brady still has not thrown an interception as a pro QB. On a give, up the middle, Kevin Falk. And he ran into a crowd for a pickup of 2.
There you can see nothing really happening when they try to run the ball, just running right into a wall. So that's why they're still throwing the ball at times here in the fourth quarter. And Tom Brady still making good decisions, as you said, haven't thrown an interception yet. So you can trust him with the football at this point in the ball game.
132 career passes now without a pick. And the obvious question that will begin to surface is, A, when will Bledsoe be ready to come back? And B, if he is ready, is it guaranteed that his job is waiting for him?
Well, I don't know if Bledsoe is ready to come back soon. He's lost over 15 pounds due to eternal bleeding. I mean, it's been really tough watching Drew Bledsoe just sit out on the sideline, but certainly with the maturation of the quarterback, Tom Brady, I think they can afford to give Drew as much time as he needs to recover from his injuries.
2-yard gain for Smith. Bledsoe just this week began using a stationary bike and lifting light weights. So Bledsoe mentally trying to get back into the swing of things. But, the second part of that question still remains. If Bledsoe is healthy, do we have a quarterback controversy here? Bill Belichick has avoided answering that question.
And you know what? He's not going to answer it until he has to. It'll be interesting to see when Bledsoe does come back and he's at full strength. What will they do then? Maybe Tom Brady will cool off by then. Who knows?
Rifles it to the sideline, and Troy Brown catches for another New England first down. It's all hypothetical right now, but I'll just ask your opinion. If they keep winning, Tom Brady is in there as the QB. You've got a Pro Bowler in Drew Bledsoe, who just assumed he'll have his job ready for him. If you're the coach of this team, what's your thought process?
I think the way Tom Brady is playing right now, you have to, I think, continue to allow him to lead the football team. He's playing so well at such a high level, and you know what? He has the same strength and same strong arm that Drew Bledsoe has, but he's a bit more mobile than what we've seen from Drew Bledsoe in the past. So you have to allow, I think, the good things to keep going.
Edwards cutting it to the outside. And a 5-yard gain for Edwards. There's so many different guys we can focus in on today offensively for New England. David Patton is the first player since Walter Payton to catch, run, and throw for a touchdown in the same game. And Sweetness did it back in October of 1979, 22 years ago today. October the 21st.
Well, congratulations to David Patton to have your name mentioned with greatness with Walter Payton. I think it's just a truly wonderful accomplishment.
Coming up on about 7 minutes that they've occupied this drive off the clock. And again, running the football. Antoine Smith. Well, we've talked about the New England side because it certainly appears the Patriots are going to 3-3, but now we've got to focus on the other side, and that's Jim Mora and this Indianapolis team. High expectations once again this year. They get off to the great start, 2-0, scoring points at will. All of a sudden, they look up, they're going to be 2-3 with huge question marks.
And they're still performing, I think, at a high level on offense. Peyton Manning throwing for over 300 yards, Edgerrin James rushing for 143 yards, and Marvin Harrison over 100 yards. I think the adjustments need to be made on defense. They've got to start making plays. Only one interception. Well, they just haven't played well on defense or on special teams today, and that's been true, I think, for their last 3 ball games.
And an example, they know New England is running the football here, and they still can't stop them. Peyton Manning continuing to talk on the sideline. And we've done enough Colt games over the years, and Peyton is obviously passionate, knowledgeable, gets it, but it's rare that you see him that animated because the frustration level is building.
Well, the Colts, you talk to everyone with the team, and they said, hey, our defense played a good game against the Oakland Raiders because they only held Charlie Garner and Tyrone Wheatley to 77 yards rushing in that game, but they gave up 6 of 12 on 3rd down when they could not get off the football field, so that's a problem.
2-minute warning, 38-17, New England in control. New England Patriots with a tremendous effort here today, and they own the Colts this year. 2 minutes to go. Indianapolis has timeouts, but why call them as New England takes a knee? Moments ago, we saw Peyton Manning talking to the offensive line, almost lecturing the offensive line, it appeared. Well, they did use a timeout. And then, during that recent timeout, Manning huddled up with his skill position players and held court, and no one else said a word.
He knows it's a long season, so he's got to keep them on the same page.
Timeout. We're coming back. On a pitch, Antoine Smith couldn't cut it to the outside, and Indianapolis will use another timeout. It's a loss of 3, and the clock stops with 1:47 to go here in the 4th. Coming up, Subway postgame show. Jim, Mike, Randy, and Jerry have the scores and the highlights, plus all the latest NFL news. It's coming up on the Subway postgame show. And also a reminder that you can follow all the games on NFL.com, and after the games, get in-depth analysis and recaps from the experts. Only at NFL.com, or you can check them out on AOL, keyword NFL.com. Well, Peyton Manning is having a conversation with anyone that'll listen on that Indianapolis sideline. Howard Mudd, the offensive line coach, is now the guy that Peyton is sharing his opinions with.
One thing you like about Peyton Manning is he cares, and he's very proactive at trying to get down to the bottom of the problem, trying to find solutions to make this football team better in all phases of the football game. Of course, he can only control what goes on the offensive side of the ball, but certainly his voice will be heard when talking talking to coaches and many of his teammates.
Antoine Smith breaking a tackle and then brought down at the 16-yard line. That's a 7-yard run. Came on a 3rd and 14. Now time is coming off. 1:29. Indianapolis not using a timeout. Make a decision here if you're Bill Belichick. Do you kick the field goal or you just go for it? Not kicking the field goal means that you're telling Jim Mora, hey, we're not going to pour it on here. The damage is done.
Damage is certainly done. And getting back to Peyton Manning, was able to avoid throwing interceptions today and really played really well up until that last play when the ball slipped out of his hand, causing a fumble. Both he and Edwin James fumbled the ball today. The only 2 turnovers on offense for the Colts today.
Brady to Edwards, and it is a first down. Or is it? It depends on where they spot it. It looks like maybe just short. Now, some might say, well, why don't you go for the points? Because if you get into a tiebreaker situation at the end of the year for a playoff spot, big picture, that does make sense. But sometimes short term, you recognize you're going to see these guys down the road. There's no reason to add to what is already a good divisional matchup.
Absolutely. And Patriots pretty much owning the Indianapolis Colts, had won 9 of 11 coming into today's game, but hadn't won here at the RCA Dome in the past 2 years. So Bill Belichick has his team on track, improving week after week, and I think the improvement they've been able to make on the offensive side of the ball in the absence of Drew Bledsoe shows a good sign of coaching on Bill Belichick's job and really Charlie Weiss and his entire staff.
You talk about a rarity. Indianapolis is taking a snap without Peyton Manning at the helm. It's Mark Rippon, the veteran. Dominique Rhodes on the carry. And Rhodes takes it across the 30-yard line. It's a 25-yard rush for Dominique Rhodes, rookie out of Midwest Texas State, made this team as a free agent. Down to 30 seconds left. And Indianapolis does not have much time to prepare for the next game. They take on Kansas City on the road, 8:30 Eastern time on Thursday, followed by a game with Buffalo. There's no doubt the Colts looked at this part of the schedule and say, hey, this is where you piece these wins together. And while it's 2-2, it could easily have been 5-2 in a hurry. New England takes a timeout with 13 seconds left.
Well, they had the bye week coming into the game against the Raiders with an extra week of preparation, playing at home. You have to like your chances in that game, but then they lose at home, and then they're back at home against the Patriots, and they lose again today. Now, having lost their 3rd straight game, and they're going to have to get back on track quickly.
For New England, first of 3 straight road games. They've got Denver and Atlanta coming up on the schedule. Patriots will move to 500 and finally feel like they're in the thick of things in the AFC East.
They're playing so much better on offense and playing better on defense. One area I think they need to improve is they're going to have to be able to pass the football at some point in time. Tom Brady talked to us about playing in today's game. He says, great weather conditions, so he's going to see plenty of ugly weather once he moves back to New England.
Tom Brady wins again. And the New England Patriots sweep the Colts here in the 2001 season. A dominant effort back in Foxborough 3 weeks ago. Another dominant effort here today at the RCA Dome. Subway postgame show is coming up. New England a winner here today over Indianapolis. Thanks for joining us. For Solomon Wilcott's our entire CBS crew, this is Ian Eagle. Subway postgame show is next. You've been watching the NFL on CBS.